All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. At the board is none other than Matty Ice. Matty, I feel like I haven't seen you for months, brother. How are you?
I feel the same way, and I'm doing amazing.
Feels good to be back, man.
It does.
It does
really
feel good to be back. I felt like, God, I had to have my fix of the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, buddy?
I had to have my fix of Matty Ice. How you doing? What's up there, Matty Ice? You know, he doesn't look like he's aged a day.
He hasn't. He hasn't.
Even with does he have a beard?
Yeah, I got to trim a little bit. You know, it's growing out a bit.
Were you happy to see 2020 dissipate, my friend, or what?
2020 was the worst. Yeah, of course. Who isn't happy to see
Is it the worst year of your life?
Ooh.
I'm going deep. Right out of the bat, folks.
What the hey? I don't even have to put a horn on that one.
That's right.
It was close. Yeah, it was pretty lousy. Yeah, 2020 absolutely sucked. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
You know, before we get into it, I want to thank the fans. You know, we get our reviews from YouTube and iHeart and everything.
Okay.
So if anyone goes to the Monty and the Pharaoh fan page, you'll see that we were number 26 most listened to pro wrestling broadcast in the United States.
Wow, it's a big
and there's proof as there's
country.
a picture on there, right?
Nicely done.
Not too bad, my friend. Not too bad.
To the audience, the Monty and the Pharaoh,
And on YouTube,
audience,
we are the
they made it
number
happen.
32nd most watched pro wrestling broadcast.
Where is this again?
On YouTube.
Very nice. Very
Not
nice.
bad for
I heard
little
the
youngsters.
Canadians like us too. Is that true?
Canadians, we are number 20. No, I'm sorry. We are number 78 in Canada.
Okay. Oh,
So we're getting there.
yeah.
We're getting there.
You knock on the door, hopefully it opens.
So I'm driving home from work, and my daughter calls me and my wife, and I'm like, what are they bothering me about? And they're like, hey, did you see the news? And I'm like, no, I've been working. And they're like, are you kidding me right now?
All right.
And, well,
You know, I've been living in a holding tank lately, so what are we talking about here?
Icy, we got to have you weigh in, too. Looks like we're starting out 2021 not in the most terrific ways as
Are you going where you
the
think
D.C. protest reaction to democracy in trouble. Thoughts, guys?
You want to take this, kiddo? You want to go first before I put a sledgehammer down? Go ahead.
Yeah, so
Sledgehammer.
I honestly think it's a pretty pathetic behavior, you know, from a losing side. It's not how you go about what you think is justice. You know, you never, especially the Capitol building, you know, riot. That's big no-no. And when you go and take the Capitol building of the United States, that's insane. It's just actually mind-boggling and totally not the way how you should go about, you know, getting the election,
If
going
I
about
say
election
to you that I
fraud.
think it's a fucking disgrace, are you okay with that?
Yeah, no, I
it's a
think it's a
fucking
fucking disgrace. Like I said, it's just pathetic
Hey,
behavior.
real quick, before we get into it, AW says, let me ask you guys a serious question.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever been laid? Skype with Sonny doesn't count, Pharaoh.
That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Hey,
Hey, listen, Skype with Sonny does count.
right.
Right?
But I am
as
worried-
long as you complete, it counts.
I'll tell you what I am worried about, though. Why on earth are you that interested in what we do with our penises?
I don't know.
That's a little strange, bro.
And
Anyway,
Bon Lewis
love you,
says,
though. Good
who
comment.
does the better rocker dropper, Marty or Monty? Hey, listen, Marty Jannetty is a professional wrestler who kicked my ass. What else can I say?
You dropped very impressively.
I dropped very
you're
impressive.
An excellent dropper.
Thank
what
you.
What are we talking about?
Jobber
dude?
extraordinaire.
With that real thing.
All right, let's
What's up?
get serious. So
Ow.
we're talking about the march.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm really, really disappointed with what I believe. You know, there's certain things you should do and shouldn't do, and I'm really disappointed with Mr. Trump. I am at the point where I don't even want to refer to him as the president, even though
Wow.
he still is. He still is, but I really don't see that as the way you should conduct yourself when you're in that position. Now, however, I will say this. When people like, and I think it's been stated before in the past, I can't stand either side, folks, just so you know. I can't stand any of them. I don't think that any of them truly give a crap about you or me out there. You
And
know,
I'll
that's
just weigh
me.
in and say I am a Trumper and I am
Okay.
a hard right Republican.
Okay,
So,
fair. You know I've always taken the Jim Morrison highway with these people. You
Understood.
know that.
Yep.
You know that. I can't take any stock, though, when someone like Pelosi or Schumer gets up there and was like, you know, there's been a lot of violence done from the other side, too, and I didn't exactly see a aggressive campaign to put a stop to that either. I have seen disgusting amounts of intolerance from the extremes on both sides. The behavior is never going to solve a thing. They all get an F to me. How do you feel about Trump basically telling them to go take a walk over there and, you know?
I'm gonna go with you, and Matt, you weigh in too. Donald Trump had the opportunity to change his country for the better.
True.
And he failed miserably because of his ego. And again, as being president of the United States, you have to put country and your people first as a leader. He has not shown that leadership quality. So I agree with you. Yesterday was a disgusting day for this country.
It was bad.
Matt, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's been his rhetoric for since the election loss has been kind of leading up to something like this, and a good leader should just, you know, fall away gracefully. And I think due to his ego, for sure, you know, that now the Senate has gone blue, as you guys have, I'm sure, have heard. So.
Well, I'll say this. For anybody out there, I love this country. I love God.
You served for this country.
Yes, I have.
By the way.
And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, should be.
The thing that separates us from all the other countries is we're not supposed to act like this.
Absolutely not.
We're not supposed to burn down cities.
We're
right?
also not supposed to invade police stations.
Well,
This has been going on both sides. It's disgusting.
Now, I'm glad you brought that out. So I have a question for both of you because you really bring this up.
Yeah.
So we have all these senators making their speeches last night about how disgusted they were.
Right.
Right? But every one of them
hung the cops
are
out.
thanking the police for protecting them. The same police they wanted to defund
They hung them out to dry.
months ago.
It's the
Chuck Schumer.
The hypocritical bullshit
Chuck
coming from
Schumer
that end is as sickening as the bullshit coming from the other end.
Thank you.
It's sickening. This is not how anything's going to get fixed. And the extremists on both sides, they can go take a walk.
By the way,
This is not something
Bon
that-
Lewis weighs in. He says Biden thinks they stormed Capitol records. That's pretty fun.
Does this mean I can't buy the Beatles anymore?
Matt, what do you think, man? What do you think about that? That you thank the same police that you tried to defund months ago?
Well, I think you can thank a service for, you know, what they're doing for and trying to reform what they're doing at the same time. I think if you're like dissatisfied with them, you can state that.
How can you take back
You can't
words
cap 'em.
that you say?
That's
can't
not.
cap 'em
I
in
don't
the
think
knees
that's
and then say,
I don't
"I
think
love
that's
you,
a
bro."
walk back though. I think he didn't like defunding the police isn't about like having no police. And I just on the police matter too, I just want to say I thought it was kind of weird that they were able to get into the Capitol building so easily. I thought the police would have been able to keep them
I don't think
back.
anybody foresaw that sort of thing happening on
I
that
agree.
level.
I agree.
They should have.
They should have,
They
yeah.
should have. There's no doubt about
Well,
that.
it won't happen again.
That's all 2020.
It won't happen
Yeah.
again.
That's for shit sure, I would think, now that this has happened. But why does it take a mistake like this to happen before they prepare properly next time for something like this?
So before we cut out,
Hey.
we give you final thoughts on this, and we move into Wrestling Farrell.
Yeah.
There's two great presidents in my mind. Again,
Okay.
we had Dr. Dre in here, who
Yeah.
wasn't a Ronald Reagan fan, and I understood
He's got
exactly
his
what he was
reasons.
saying,
He's
right?
got his reasons.
But I still hold Ronald Reagan, or President Reagan, in high regard.
Yep.
His
Understood.
quote, which was used by the senators yesterday, I thought was pretty important. Peace is not absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means.
We must not be enemies. Through passion, we have been strained. It must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. Wow.
Abraham Lincoln, my friend.
Wow. Damn.
That says it all.
Let me tell you something, too. I find that amazing because, you know, people a long time ago spoke really poetically. Look at the difference in the language.
Absolutely.
Between the quotes, they both say amazing things, but Ronald Reagan is, he gets it done in 2 sentences. This one's like a piece of art here.
It hits you right.
Wow.
This is what made Abraham Lincoln one of the greatest presidents of all time.
And this is, to me, what makes Donald Trump, unfortunately, one of the most delusional presidents of anyone's time.
Right.
I just saw a quote from him today. He said, and so comes to a close the greatest first term in the history of the presidency of this country. Are you insane? You're going to compare your first term to Franklin Delano Roosevelt? And a whole bunch of others I'm sure I could name. But my God, how can you be that far off on the pulse of the country in general?
And by the way, AW chimes in, Trump's an embarrassment. Let's be honest here. I'm a Republican too, but hey, he's hurting our party.
Yeah.
Well, you're 100% right, sir.
I think he might have given them the death blow for the next 8 years. What do you think about that?
He just did.
I think he basically did.
I think Matt just said that, right?
And Matt's the youth there, so that's the future talking right there. So, yeah, I do believe that was a death blow. I think he wanted that to happen, too. I don't think he's any fan of the Republican Party. I think that they served his means.
Again, we look for better times.
Wow.
We're getting older, right? We can't afford.
Yeah, this is a mess,
we cannot afford to lose years on our lives, right?
Well, we are. We are. They're being sucked up by big fat cows that are not getting it done for us.
I would like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh. Also, the lead singer, Mr. Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner Bart Griggs, are the part of the band Wisteria Hall.
Yes, sir.
They sing songs like In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain, and, of course, the theme song Riding High.
Nice.
You can find their music on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. If you don't know it, you're watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, where you could be seen on YouTube, Monty and the Pharaoh page, Facebook Live, Monty and the Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, where we're number 28, Spotify, where we're number 28,
Nice.
Anchor, where we are number 28, and again, you could go to our Facebook page for proof of that instead of the bullshit that's out there. Catch us on Twitch TV, Monty and the Pharaoh page. Also, we're on TV. Did you know we're on TV?
What's a TV?
Oh, that's right. Whoops! You've just been Zimmerman.
Yeah. Oh, God. Ow.
Channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 7:30, where you get our show in the reduced version.
Reduced. He's doing it
I'm
again.
sorry, man.
Yeah.
I'm getting dumber by the years. For the early risers, you catch us on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30, and on Channel 20 at 2 a.m. to 2:30 on Friday. That's like right after this show.
Okay.
Where you could catch such great legends as Ken Patera, Tony Atlas, Gina Zimmerman, Tommy Wildfire Rich, and the list goes
Tito
along and
Santana.
along. Tito Santana.
Hey.
And did I say Gina Zimmerman?
Yeah. My Uncle Erwin. What are you talking about?
We'll be right back after this commercial break with our first show of the new year.
I don't have an Uncle Erwin. See you in a second.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence. Collision Specialists. 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, only seen here on Indie Music TV out of Long Island, New York. Happy New Year. Before we start, I want to thank Chris and Matt from Indie Music. What a great first year in this studio.
That flew by.
I got to tell you, personally, and for the show, we couldn't be in a happier and a better place. And I want to thank you for all the hard work both gentlemen have put into the show. And, you know, from the sponsors to YouTube, everything has grown twofold and or maybe tenfold. Not tenfold.
Well,
That'd be a little too much.
Let me get the calculator. I'll get back to you.
But, Maddie, I want to thank you personally for all you've done for the show, my friend. And I think me and Afaro mean that together.
No, thank you. I mean, it's been a blast working with you guys. I mean,
and you're becoming
it's been
a wrestling
quite the year,
expert.
you know. Yeah,
You're becoming a wrestling
He's
expert.
becoming a wrestling
I am becoming a wrestling
Faro,
expert.
in 2020, we had many guests and many shows.
Yeah, too many.
What
for
was
me
your
to
favorite show
remember.
last year?
Oh, that's really hard.
I love throwing this crap at you, bro.
Yeah, but then my brain gets twisted. You know what? Maybe because I'm also a musician, but I really dug when Andrew jammed with Aqua Cherry. I
Yes.
thought that was really, really awesome.
And you're speaking about the great Andrew Anderson, friend of the show.
Yes, of course. What else was it? Ken Patero was great. Doink made me laugh because he reminded me of Jackie Gleason. I told you, I just thought he was hilarious. Tommy Rich was a wonderful revelation. What a great guy.
Oh, my God,
You
incredible.
know, of course, Tony Atlas giving us the great Bruiser Brody interview,
Absolutely.
which has done great for the channel and for the show.
Yep.
You know, just everything here. The studio has, you know, matched what we hoped for, and it's been a really good ride here. And I'm just very grateful for it. That's basically it.
Well, and I'm also grateful to have you as my partner, for sure.
Well, of course. God bless us all, everyone.
Oh, my God. Who's that, Tiny Tim?
I think so. Yeah.
Tiny Jim? Tim?
Yeah. With the Scrooge.
Tiny
Which,
Tim or
wait,
Jim? Is it Tiny Jim or Tim?
It's not Tiny Jim. It's Tiny Tim.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Tiny
can't.
Jim. Yo, bro. Tiny Jim.
Personally, I really enjoyed the Intercontinental recap,
That
the
was great.
Intercontinental
That
belt,
was great.
and as a guest, Ken Patera. That was pretty incredible.
That was excellent. The best was when Kid Vern Gagne kicked your ass, and he almost came over and
That
kicked
almost kicked my ass.
He's
Not
like,
good.
Are you serious?
And let's not forget Nikita Koloff.
That was great.
I love looking at the old Nikita Koloff videos and knowing the man we had that we know now, and it's
Forever,
crazy.
Every time I think of him, I just flash back to the parking lot. Dude, where's my car?
Dude, where's my car?
We couldn't find the car.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. You know.
And 2020 had a year of casualties, especially for the wrestling world. So we want to take this moment and we're going to play a quick video for the wrestlers lost. Prayers to their family and prayers to them.
This life is tearing me apart. This life is tearing me apart. Remember when I was with you? When love was all we really knew. I saw the beauty in this world to guide me. This life is tearing me apart. This life is tearing me apart. I didn't know it was nothing from the start. After all we've been through, where are you? So now it's over, gone so fast. Still all these pictures of my past.
right, welcome back. Tough stuff, brother. As
What a
we get
year.
older,
What a year.
Pat Patterson,
Ow. Ow.
Zeus,
Ouch. Sure.
Kevin Green.
That one really bothered me. Just also as a fan of him as a football player. I was a I have an affection for the Steelers as well as Jets
Right.
first, obviously, but I did love the Steelers growing up. So,
Road Warrior Animal.
man, how many What about Brody Lee?
Yeah.
Kamala?
Kamala.
How many more were there? No, there's just too many.
Let me ask you, why do you think, and I think this is human nature, but why do you think that people were more affected by the passing of Brody Lee than Kamala or Pat Patterson?
Well, in Pat Patterson's case, he was 80-something. In Kamala's case, we knew that I think, what was he, around 70 or so, and that he had really poor health. He'd already lost his legs and stuff, so we knew he had poor health. Brody Lee came out of nowhere. Brody Lee's 41 years old. Brody Lee was in he was in the prime of his career, basically. He still had probably another 5 to 10 in wrestling, Just, that was horrible. Came out of nowhere. He's got a kid. Just awful. That was a really bad shock, when he passed away. It's the age thing, dude. 41, come on. Ow.
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break and return to our Happy New Year episode.
We'll be right back. Yay.
Jimmy, I got to take a dump.
What?
No, I mean, I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Pharaoh,
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Greatest match or moment in your mind?
Well, I actually did a little homework on this, and by the way, it was pretty funny. I was taking a look at different top tens and people's opinions
Right.
over this past year, and I'm sure you won't be that surprised to hear that one of them was hilarious. It was like 9 Japan matches, 1 WWE. I'm like, hey, I can't even look at a list like this. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It's so jaded. It's like, stop it. For me, and I think you'll probably agree because we did talk about this earlier in the week, and after reviewing a bunch of matches and stuff, I think that the Royal Rumble event itself from earlier this year, and right before we no longer had people in the audience, there were people in the audience, was probably the best thing I saw this year.
I agree with you.
It was well done, Royal Rumble. McIntyre eliminating Lesnar, and then leading up to his WrestleMania, that match was excellent.
And the return of Edge.
That was incredible. That's the moment, too. That's
Remember the
moment,
video we
and
put
that's the
together
match.
of all the people screaming
Yep.
at like all different
Oh,
sites?
I just got goosebumps. Nobody can, yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Team Taz running away from a 60-year-old Sting every episode of AEW.
Woo! No. Wait a minute, Taz can run?
Dude, seriously, like, why do people run away from a 60-year-old Sting?
Well, he's got a bat, doesn't he?
Brian
Did
Cage,
he have a bat?
Taz.
Was he holding a
Oh,
bat?
the plastic bat?
I'm getting out of there. A plastic bat? Now I'm really running. What are you talking about? He's
I mean,
scary.
what is the whole idea with that? They're
He's-
scared of Sting?
He's the crow. He's just an old crow. An old
Old crow.
Very interesting.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you.
All right, well, we at Monty the Pharaoh came up with a new segment called Head to Head.
Oh.
And on this first edition, we're going to put John Tolos
John Tolos.
against The Miz.
Wow, what a wacky idea. Who thought of that one, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I did. I did think about
We're
it.
going to do head-to-head once we get back from this commercial break.
See you in a sec.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Elm Logistics. For all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
All right, well, we're really excited about this segment. So we're going to introduce our segment, and then Pharaoh's going to tell us about the rules.
I am?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hey, do we have that awesome artwork from Jeff?
It's on its way.
It's on its way? Oh, okay. All right, so am I going to read the rules now? All right, let me see if I can...
Well, let him do the video, and then you can read the rules.
Okay.
Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match in the history of professional wrestling for the heavyweight championship of the world. Are you ready? Wrestling fans, are you ready?
All right, brother, head-to-head.
Did I
Pharaoh, what are the rules?
Wait a
my
minute,
friend?
wait. Did I just hear Michael Buffer? Like off in the distance?
Yes, you did.
Okay, all right. Well, let's have at it here. These, the rules for head-to-head are the following. This is based on the following five things, five criteria items. Number one, mic skills. That should be self-explanatory, I would think. Do you want to debate what this means to the audience? They should understand what that means,
they
right?
They should, but if we need clarity, it's use of the stick, right? Interviews
Use of the stick.
or whatever you got going on.
Right,
yeah.
right. How do you talk? Are you good at it? Yada, yada, yada. Okay.
By the way, people are picking Tolos. We'll see.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, number two, mat skills. That should be self-explanatory.
Again, true wrestling ability.
Right, right. Very good. Are you Bret Hart or are you serviceable? Are you John Cena or are you even worse?
Are you Bret Hart or are you...
Steve King?
Steve King, yeah.
Steve King.
Next.
Okay, number three, your overall, this is an interesting one. I like this. Your overall influence on the industry. What have you done to change the business, or what have you done to forward it, or, what kind of impact have you had on it, right? That's basically what we're getting at here.
So you might not be the greatest technical wrestler.
Right. This can have nothing to do with that, to tell you the truth.
But, like, for example...
Hulk Hogan, look at the influence he had on the industry. He's not Bret Hart.
Or the NWO as a faction, right?
Right.
They had an influence on the industry.
They sure did. They sure did. Okay, here's my personal favorite, because this is where the nerd factor comes in for me. The back of the baseball card. This is where we're talking about championships, resume, how many belts you've won, if you've been a Money in the Bank winner, if you've won the Royal Rumble, things like that.
NWA champion.
NWA champion, or back in the territorial days, if you dominated a region, blah, blah, blah. These are the back of the baseball card.
Okay.
And then number five, that indescribable thing that you usually feel when you're watching and you get what they call the it factor from a wrestler. Does he have that it factor? Is there something that draws you to the TV to want to see this guy?
So I'll use something as an it factor. If anyone watched that great true documentary on Andre the Giant that HBO put out.
Okay.
At some point, they start showing clips of other wrestlers. And for a non-wrestler, superstar Billy Graham is posing. And my wife, who's not a big wrestling fan, instantly said,
Who's that?
Who's that?
It factor.
It factor.
Yeah.
Right?
It factor. He sure had it.
All right, well, let's talk about contestant number 1, John Tolos. Farrell, take it
All
away.
right, ladies and gentlemen, John Tolos. During the 1950s and 60s, Tolos was part of the Canadian wrecking crew with his brother Chris Tolos. On December 28th, 1963, John and Chris captured the WWF United States Tag Team Championship in 2 straight falls over, by the way, their opponents that night that they took the belts from were Gorilla Monsoon and Killer Kowalski.
Wow.
Yeah. While both teams were heels at the time, that's interesting too. We probably would have loved that.
That would have been great.
Heels head to head. They were the Tolos brothers did a television interview prior to the title match, looking forward to seeing all of their fans in Teaneck. That night, they were actually cheered throughout. Very interesting.
Oh, man, a lot of people voting for Tolos right now, my friend.
I love John
Keep
Tolos
going.
growing up. I thought that this would be interesting. I hope everyone hears us out, too, because this is going to be interesting. Tolos also engaged, and this is another huge portion of his career, where he engaged in a very long-time rivalry with classy Fred Blassie over in the Los Angeles territory. Now, of course, this is where I was tuning in on UHF, Channel 41 from Patterson, New Jersey, to watch Lucha Libre de Profesional, and I saw a lot from the Olympic Auditorium with the great Jimmy Lennon as the announcer, and man, oh man, did I love that show. But anyway,
Adrian Street was on in
he
California, right?
he was, and he was big time. So was Johnny Rods as
Absolutely.
There you go. They would feud over the NWA America's Championship, Tolos and Blassie, and understand this is the territory days, so this is when this belt was kind of like the equivalent to, the United States champion or the champion of that area, and they just fought and fought and fought over
Equivalent
this belt.
to the WWF title?
No, but I would say equivalent to like an intercontinental level at least.
Understood.
The America's Championship. It wasn't the world title, but it was very important during the territory days for that territory, and that territory was Los Angeles, which was drawing 20,000 plus when Tolos and Blassie would fight each other. Tolos did a lot of other strange things later on after his career was winding down. He wound up actually doing some work with Herb Abrams, who I find to be very fascinating.
Our very own Sunny Beach.
Yep, very true. Sunny Beach
Right.
from UW, absolutely from UWF.
You can catch Sunny Beach in studio on former episodes of Monty and Farrell,
Absolutely,
along with his partner Steve Ray.
absolutely. This is where, and I actually caught Tolos towards the end of his career, and I loved him. I thought he was a very engaging bad guy. He kept me glued to that program. He was the heel when I was watching that show from Los Angeles over those couple of years. Very fond memories watching him. Of course, later on in his career, and I looked this up, and I know how much you love Coach. Poor John Tolos is asked to come to the WWF and do this role of Coach, where he
Well,
replaces...
was he asked to come, or do you think Vince was doing a favor?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get into that. Maybe
Sure.
you know the story behind that. I don't know how he wound up there, but there he was, and in a role that could never have succeeded anyway. You're replacing Bobby the Brain Heenan. You're going to fail. I don't care what your gimmick is. You're going to fail when you're trying to replace Bobby the Brain Heenan. But he came in as Coach, and you could tell even Mr. Perfect was not into this, by the way. And he did what he could with it. He was a good talker, in my opinion. Nothing like, no Ric Flair, but he did fine with the role with what he could do with it, but that role was doomed from the start. Unfortunately, I think that's how you remember him, is pretty much his Coach. But in his prime, John Tolos was a main event heel who did wrestle Bruno Sammartino at Madison Square Garden back in, I believe, 1974. It was a one-off. It wasn't like he had a lengthy program with Bruno, but he did manage to wrestle Bruno for the belt at the Garden during Bruno's prime. A really great wrestler, in my opinion. Not a
Right.
Ric Flair, obviously, not a Bret Hart, but John Tolos deserves much respect. And that's the deal with John Tolos, 10-time America's champion, former WWF champion, WWF Tag Team champion with his brother, and had a lot of other belts from territory to territory, getting belts here and there from the territory days. He's a territory legend, I'll say that much.
Well, I want to be fair here because, again,
Okay.
I'm not the master like you are.
Oh, I'm not the master.
The Golden Greek,
yes.
I watched a couple of matches, like 4 or 5
I tried
matches.
to send you a couple of them.
Right.
Like, look. Okay.
The first thing I thought is,
Here we
how
go.
can someone
Oh, no.
complain about today's wrestling
Yeah.
when, as a fan, I watched some John Tolos matches.
Yeah?
And I think I brought it up to you. if anyone could catch, he's in a match against Jerry Lawler.
At the end of his later on at the end of his career, pretty much getting there. Go on. Yep. Yep.
He literally gets on the top rope, jumps on Lawler's arm, gets on the jumps on Lawler's arm, gets on top. And I'm thinking to myself, what is this love for John Tolos?
Right.
I didn't get it.
Okay.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't think it was such a great. First of all, I wasn't impressed.
Okay.
I watched Bruno.
You didn't really watch the best. You must have been a little more impressed with the Bruno one, though, right?
I was more impressed with the Bruno
he's
one,
in his
but then
prime
again,
there.
not over.
Okay. Right.
First of all, the
You're not
guy
doing
didn't look
backflips.
like a Greek god to me.
Okay.
He looked like the.
Did Spyros Arion look like a Greek god?
Yes,
to you?
he did.
Very interesting, because I don't think either of them exactly epitomized Greek god.
Well, I thought
But
he
that's-
looked more like a deli counter guy, but that's. I mean, I'm being honest. I'm being honest.
You
here.
know who I think John Tolos looked like? John Saxon. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's a famous actor. He was like in the Bruce Lee movies, I think. That's who he reminded me of a little bit. I don't know why.
I was not impressed.
as good looking
I
as
was
John
not
Saxon,
impressed
but-
by John Tolos' wrestling skills.
Okay. Would you say he was bad, though? Be fair. Think about that. Was he serviceable?
Here's what I do.
What you were watching?
This is what I'll tell you.
Okay. He's the
I'm
drizzling
glad that
shits.
you chose the wrestlers for our first segment.
Yeah.
Because if you would have chose anybody but The Miz, we shouldn't even have the segment because Tolos wouldn't win. He has an opportunity against The Miz.
Against the Miz. Okay.
So
all
good
right.
choice.
Okay.
Again, I'm not getting this infatuation with John Tolos.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
Um,
again, it's your exposure to him, though. Again, you didn't catch what I caught when I caught it. I started watching in 79, 1980 or so, and Tolos was still a main event heel in Los Angeles, and I loved his work.
So he had the it factor in Los Angeles.
He did.
Did he have the it factor here in the Northeast?
No, because he never really. Well, I can't answer that. The ones who can answer that are the ones who saw him in 1974 in this area. We were too small.
Right, I get it.
What I did see, I sent to you, and I was impressed with his physique at the time. I
Really?
thought he looked great.
Okay.
I don't think he looked bad at all.
No, I didn't think he looked bad. I just
thought
thought
he
he looked
looked
like a
great.
regular. Next to Bruno, he looked like nothing.
Listen, John Tolos is not Magnificent Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, John Tolos is not Greg Valentine.
Gotcha.
John Tolos to me is not even Ken Patera as far as pizzazz and aura and all those other things. But John Tolos was a really convincing bad guy who you hated, and he made you hate him. And he didn't make you hate him with annoyance the way The Miz does, but we'll get to that
Okay.
when we break down The Miz. The Miz annoys people. Tolos actually generated true heel hatred, and that's an old school characteristic, and that's what I loved about him. I thought he was very old school villain.
So you give him a good it factor. Wrestling, you're giving him a good
Yeah,
wrestling.
you want to break that down? I mean, what do we got here again? What's the?
Well, let me go over something else. Let's think about something else.
Okay.
So I said, let me listen to some old John Tolos interviews.
Okay.
And basically, it's some dude going,
Shouting.
I'm gonna break your leg.
Right.
I was like,
tonality
oh my
was
God.
good.
All right. It was just
tonality
old
was good.
school garbage
But
mic skills.
I didn't consider it cardboard cookie cutter, though.
Well, I'll tell you what. I also watched when Perfect brings him in as coach.
Right.
And it was
Perfect's
as bad then,
Perfect
but I
was
watched
little.
it last night, is
Yeah.
when it happened.
Perfect. Yeah, it was terrible.
I got
It
to
was
tell you what,
terrible.
as
You
coach,
can't-
the best thing he ever did was give Bill Alfonso a gimmick, dude. I got to be honest with you.
Bill Alfonso made it work much better, though. Wasn't even close.
Dude, I'm sorry, not impressed by John Tolos.
Understood.
Okay, I'm not
Understood.
impressed by
you
John
know what? Let's
Tolos.
get to the Mike verse. We'll get to
Go ahead.
when we finish the Miz now. You know, you want me to read about the Miz too?
So our
I'm
next,
gonna be exhausted.
the
Why
next
don't you take the
contender,
Miz?
you got the Miz,
Oh
brother.
my God, I got the
our
Miz
next,
too.
Our next competitor is Michael Gregory Mizan. What is Mizani? Whatever the hell it is. Go ahead, you do go with it.
Michael Gregory Mazanin. Wow, he's going to be 41 this year. You know, people may not realize this, but the Miz has been around with the WWF, I think, for around 17 years. You know, he's signed with the WWE and of course, he performs on the Raw brand currently. You know, he's holding the Money in the Bank contract again. He's got it back again, right, Mike?
He does?
I think he lost it, but somehow he got it back again somehow. You folks may remember that he started way back on MTV's The Real World, back to New York in 2001. Then he was on more of these Real World shows. Then eventually, wow, what's this, Battle of the Network reality stars? This guy's all over the place. Then he somehow winds up on Tough Enough.
Let's not forget he's with Maurice. Right there, you get
That's
tons of street cred
you
right
get
there.
absolutely that. You know, he winds up on Tough Enough, and this basically launches his career with the WWE. We know about Maurice. Wasn't she the Diva Search too, or something like that?
He was.
You know, as far as transcending, the Miz can say this much. That's for sure. You know, the Miz and Mrs. is successful. It's a successful show. Not everybody in wrestling goes into a reality show and succeeds. I can think of the Bellas, obviously, have succeeded, and the Miz has succeeded. Anybody else gone into a reality show and succeeded? Like, really succeeded?
about
Hogan
that
did it.
Hogan show,
Hogan
wasn't
wrote the template for it, to tell you the truth. But not too many people.
Might have ruined his career, though. But
Yeah, well, that didn't work out so great for him either, that's for sure. So we know about all of this and you know, what he's done entertainment-wise, and Vince probably loves that factor, plus being in the Marine movies and all of that. But let's get to the wrestling, okay? Here's where things are, you know, make it interesting. We know that he's good on the microphone. He's also won a total of 19 championships in the WWE. He's won the world title one time. He defeated John Cena at WrestleMania.
the last great professional wrestler.
Well, he could be the last great superstar.
Fair enough.
You know, that way, you know, everybody's getting his T-shirts from here to, you know, Serbia. He's got the Intercontinental title 8 times, as far, you know, on top of his WWE Championship, United States champion twice, 8 tag team championships. Now, of course, in this day and age, they pass around the title like it's, you know, hot potatoes, but he has held everything.
So I give
multiple-
Tolos a little break on that for sure.
Yeah, you gotta, you
All right.
know. What else has he done? Well, Money in the Bank, we know about that one. He's won it before in the past, too. This is impressive, and say what you want, but as far as the nerds, you can't really fight this one. PWI 500 in 2011. Miz was number 1.
Wow.
The Wrestler of the Year. And that comes from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, who we both irreversibly respect, obviously, with their history. It's not so cut and dry, folks. It's not so cut and dry as you think it would be. The Miz has an outstanding career. You know, whether you like him or hate him, look, you got to remove the
Who's a better wrestler?
the
Matt
emotional.
Skills, Farrow.
Oh,
Give it
we're
to
gonna
me.
go. We're just gonna get to it.
Just
Why don't you
get
tell
to
me
it.
what you think of the Miz first before you basically
What I think
declare
of-
him the winner?
what
Because
I-
I can see where you're going with this.
what I think of the
so much
Miz-
for tradition, so much for our boys, so much for.
I
Go
think,
on.
I think the Miz started poorly,
Yeah,
gained my
absolutely.
respect,
Yes,
and now is ending poorly.
and now he's ending poorly.
Dude, I cannot stand this
he
Morrison
sucks.
Miz thing. I'm like,
You
get
and
off.
everybody else.
Now I like Miz and Mrs.
Oh,
whatever.
when they
I
were
love
together-
that. I love that show.
No, I can't. No,
I love that
no,
show.
I will not say that, but I will say that when they were together in the ring, Maurice and Miz, that was probably his high
Listen,
point.
anywhere Maurice. It's
Oh,
a
is
win.
that all it takes?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's Maurice. You're over, Miz.
Done.
That's true, though. He was over when she was by his side.
So, I'm not a fan of Miz either,
right.
but I'm gonna
I'm not.
weigh in.
Yeah.
Better wrestler, Miz.
Well, let's go slow here.
Okay, good.
Why don't
Better
we do
mat
it in-
skills.
Why don't we
Let's
do,
use our
why don't we do it in
titles.
order? Wasn't it Mike Skills first?
Go ahead. You're in
Okay.
lead here, bro.
Who's
so
got
you
the
know.
better mic skills? Well, you know what? I really don't want to upset anybody, but the facts are the Miz has better mic skills.
Agreed.
He's got better mic skills.
Agreed.
Come on, the guy can talk for hours. Not that you would want him to. So I'll grant you that. But I do think he's a more well-rounded.
Russell Campbell says Miz highly understated and underrated.
That's fair. People can say that, and I wouldn't disagree with that.
All right, so we
I
got
wouldn't.
Miz on the mic skills. What else you got?
All right, Matt skills.
Miz.
No, this is
Oh,
where.
come
no,
on,
no,
bro.
actually, no. This is where I'm going to call this one a stalemate because neither one of
It's a stalemate.
They're both just serviceable to me in the ring. Neither one of them are Rob Van Dam, Bret Hart, or whatever. They're both serviceable.
By the way, one thing
Yeah.
Bon Lewis says out there, fun fact about The Miz.
Yeah.
He's the second longest holder of the Intercontinental title based on continuous days,
Right.
held 597. Only Pedro Morales was held the title longest, 619. And Bon, if you want to learn a little more about that, go to
Oh, he'd
our
love
past
it.
video, The
He'd love
History
it.
of the Intercontinental title. I think you will love that show.
Yep.
So
Great
you're
point, too.
you're
Thanks for
going
the comment.
with you're going with Tolos on the mat, huh?
No, I'm calling that one a stalemate because again, I
It's a
don't
draw.
think one was greater than the other. I just think they're both serviceable. Neither one of them are Jimmy Snooker
right.
or something. There's
Fair
nothing outstanding about either of their.
one of them is Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah, there's no pizzazz in either. They're serviceable.
Neither one of them is Frankie Williams.
Okay, what's next after Mike Skills and Matt Skills? You got this criteria in front of you or no?
I don't know. Hold on, let me pop
How
it up.
about the impact they? What was it? How did you word it? The impact that they left behind.
Well, yeah, on the legacy that they left on wrestling. I'm pulling it up for you right now, Farrah. Hold on,
You
buddy.
know.
I'm getting there, bro. Overall influence on the industry.
I got to be honest. I don't.
I don't
really
think either one has.
Right,
influence
I'm
on
going
the
to call
industry.
that. I don't think that either one of them have had a huge. I'm sorry. No, that's another stalemate. And we can have stalemates.
That's
You don't
fine.
have to.
Back
Well,
of the baseball card. That's not. It's a no-brainer, bro.
That's the Miz.
right?
Yeah, whether you want to agree with it or not, I'm sorry, you can't compare the.
And it factor. I don't even think either one has it factor,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah,
Anyway.
well, I'll agree. Is this a draw?
No, because
Right.
you've got
One-
back
one-
of the baseball card,
Right.
and
So the
you've
Miz
got
won.
Mike skills,
Right, so
and
the
you've
Miz
got
won.
draws all the way rest down.
Right.
So
So
we're
it's basically 2-0 and 3 draws.
so we're going to give the official
It's gotta
win
be to the Miz.
to the Miz.
Yeah.
Farrell,
is
you
what
want
it
to tell
is.
people next week what the head-to-head
Wait a minute,
competition
hold on.
will be?
I hear something.
I can't believe these guys chose the Miz over John Tolos.
Man, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's not like we were like expecting one to absolutely slam the other, and honestly, he didn't. He didn't win all 5 categories.
All right, so which way you going
No.
next week? Who is on board next week, my friend?
Next week,
I didn't put it in the script. Sorry.
did we even talk about it yet, or you just want me to wing something off the
Well, you
cuff?
did. Randy Orton.
Randy
against
Orton?
Mil Mascaras.
I did that.
Yes, you did.
Did I really?
So next week, everybody.
Wow.
It is Randy
What a
Orton
matchup!
against Mil Mascaras.
Man, I'm a genius. Wow.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Yeah, my brain hurts. See you in a minute.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com. You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast. www.quickcast.com. 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Start your own success. Elm Logistics. For all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty Nefaro, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Next week, in our second show of the year, we will be going over the career of the great Bruiser Brody. You want to weigh in on that there, Farrell?
Boy, oh boy. I got a lot of research to do. He certainly is someone that you could probably do 2 to 3 hours on. That's for shit sure. That's going to be good. Is this setting us up for a future guest? Because I feel like it kind of is.
It is, but before that, on January 21st, we have in studio comedy legend formerly from the Howard Stern Show, Jackie the Joke Man Martling will be in here,
Nice catch, Monty.
and that's why we call it the Variety
Right.
Show.
Nice catch.
We'll talk a little wrestling, but mostly about comedy, and I'm
Jackie.
very excited to have Jackie the Joke Man in.
It's a big deal, man.
And on
nice.
January 24th, we have Dutch Mantel in studio, and that's at 10 in the morning.
Right.
Dutch Mantel was part of the whole, like you said, leading in from the Bruiser Brody thing. He was there with Tony Atlas and
there.
Savio Vega,
He was
who
there.
we've had in studio. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, including myself, and I think you too.
What? Careful now.
Well, I'm
What?
being honest, is I think Dutch knows a little more than he's let on
I
in the
think
past.
a lot of people know more. I think a lot of people know more than what they've let on in the past. I think we're going to try to see what we can find out.
Well, you'll get the questions here on M&P, so.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled about that, though, too. You know, and I'm pretty psyched to have Dutch Mantel in here.
And I believe the 29th.
Okay.
I'm not officially sure.
Okay.
But we'll put that announcement in there. But we have former MMA champion in Dan Severin.
Also
That's a Friday,
former
right?
NWA champion.
That's right.
Dan
Very
Severin.
good.
Yep.
Monty Nefaro could be seen on the Monty Nefaro YouTube page, which most of you are probably watching right now, the Monty Nefaro Facebook Live page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, on New York Cable TV, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, and for early risers, Saturday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. And right after this show, if you're in New York, you could catch our show on Friday morning from 1:30 a.m. to 2 a.m. I think I got that wrong. It's 2 a.m. to 2:30.
If you have a TV, yeah.
If you have a TV.
Yeah, right.
Farrell, parting words?
Just like let's all hope that this new year brings us a lot more joy and a lot less grief. Let's put it that way.
That's for sure.
Let's have a better year this year, folks. Let's try.
I will say this. I'm humbled to be part of the studio. Humbled to have the fans who have supported us last year. Thank you for taking two guys who have loved this great sport, and we call it a sport,
Yeah.
and allowed us the opportunity to come into your living rooms and entertain you.
Yeah,
I
we
know
try.
I know some people don't like our style and some people love our style,
no. C'est la vie.
but we're okay with both.
Yeah.
We're just here to, if we could help everybody get through what they're going through, that's what we got into this to begin with, right?
The show must go on.
I want to thank the wonderful sponsors who sponsor this show. So please, look at our ads. Please help support them. Right?
you.
Thank you, Farrow. Thank you very much for that.
Support them.
And we're looking forward to next week where we're going to go over the career of Bruiser Brody. Mm-hmm. And we have our second head-to-head competition, which is going to be Mil Mascaris against Randy Orton.
I hear voices
Again, guys,
in my head.
I love the interaction. Russell Campbell, I know you're new to the show. I'm glad you're here to stay, my friend. We're happy to have you, and thank you for supporting us. It's very, very important. And, again, we're humbled by everybody who interacts with us on all our pages, and we thank you so much. We're expecting a big year next year, and I don't know. I'm lost for words in some
I just
cases.
think that it's awesome that we can come into your homes and give you something that you love, pro wrestling. Talk about it, enjoy yourselves. I mean, with the way everybody's unfortunately almost been forced to live inside, and you don't really get to interact with people. This is the chance for us to all be together for an hour, and we really do appreciate everybody tuning in.
And it's
Thank you.
again, we love the fact, hey, if you're a John Tolos fan and you're pissed off right now, I get it.
I'm
I get
pissed.
it. You're mad.
I like him more than The Miz, and I still had to judge it this way.
But again, that's the
that's
whole
being
point of the
fair.
head-to-head thing. We're
But
trying to
that's
take
being
old
fair.
school against new school and say,
Right.
here we go.
Right.
And let's go over it. And next
Right.
week's going to be hot, right?
Right.
Mil Mascaris, a Mexican legend,
Right.
against maybe
Oh, yeah.
one of the top pro wrestlers of the new age,
Oh,
Randy
come
Orton,
on.
right?
Absolutely.
Talking about pinning two guys.
And you know what's weird too, for those of you who may be hot about how it turned out and the Miz won in our comparison, try to remember this: the Miz has been working for one company for 17 years, and not just any company, the company. So he should be respected as a veteran by now, don't you think?
Absolutely.
How many years has the guy been there? So try to look at it that way too. It's not like we picked a one-hit wonder rookie or something
One last
like
thing,
that.
Bon Lewis says, great show again, guys. Let's get you to the top 10. Farrow, send us out, brother.
You've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh, and until next time, as I always say, besides Happy New Year, later.